Hey everybody, welcome to the Beer Guys special edition featuring Icicle Brewery. We have Pamela from the brewery and also a brat and mustard recipe from Munchen. I'm sitting here trying to concentrate and there's fumes of the sausage going right up in my face, begging me to eat it.
Yeah, speaking of that, which beer are we gonna? Are we doing the hazy IPA with the sausage?
That's
the one I got.
I cracked the amber because I already drank the hazy while I was cooking.
Which one, Pam? Should we do?
Let's do the Dirtyface first, and then dessert can be the Alpenhaze.
That's a good plan.
I mean, it's good you bring it up because when you're trying beer, you kind of want to start usually lightest to darkest. But in this case, even though the color is darker, the Alpenhaze has more hops. Yeah, so you want me to give you a little history about the sausage and beer and how this pairing works?
Yeah.
Pretty well.
Please do.
Yeah, I'm Pam, by the way. My husband's Oliver, and we have Munchen Haus, Bavarian Grill and Beer Garden, hence sausage and beer. And we also own Icicle Brewing Company in Leavenworth. And if you've never been to Leavenworth, Washington, it is a Bavarian-themed town. So hence, we started Munchen Haus in 2001. My husband was a hop farmer, but we love Leavenworth, and so we built Munchen Haus. And we just started with just kettle corn. If you've been to Bavaria, kettle corn, they serve that at the movie theaters. It's a salty sweet corn. Yeah. But then we added the sausage grill and then eventually a beer garden. Yeah, so I just kind of through the years, really, we always serve Pacific Northwest craft beer. And our town didn't have a brewery. When we opened Munchen Haus, the Leavenworth brewery had been here, but it was sold and moved. And so in 2010, we decided to build Icicle Brewing Company. Oliver's family had retired from hop farming. And so, so we built the brewery. Hence, now I do a lot of sausage and beer pairings. I have my little Instagram hobby that I started this year called Pam's Pairings. But that actually started at Munchen Haus. I had an event where I invited guests to come and we did all kinds of sausage and beer combos. So this is one of my favorites.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but before we gloss over this, I just want to point out that the pairing here, this is delicious. I'm experiencing something really special going on right now. There's a lot of different flavors, a lot of things going really well. And before you keep going, without myself or anybody saying anything, good job on the recipe. Awesome, great pairing with the beer. I love it.
So let me break it down for you. So beer by itself, like take a sip of the beer just by itself, and just kind of try to block out any sausage that you ate, and smell it first. It smells kind of like bread to me, like you're baking bread. Which beer is basically like bread.
Liquid bread.
Mm-hmm. And then you taste it, and it has, so this is a Märzen style, which is the older style of Oktoberfest beer. Märzen actually means March, and they would serve this in March, and then they would serve a fest beer style in the fall. So this is an amber lager, so it's very smooth. It's not, you don't get a lot of the ale characteristics, which can be a little bit more spicy tasting, or it's just real smooth. And so
it's really sweet. I think for me, the sweetness is that's what's coming through.
Mm-hmm. And so it's really malty. It's 5% alcohol, ABV. And then the IBUs on this, I believe, they're fairly low. They're 21. And so there's not much hop. There's not much of a hop bittering, but the only hops that we have in there are the Vanguard hops. And those are a American version of noble hops, which you'll see in lagers. German style lagers. And so the malt flavors that you taste, kind of like when I taste a beer, I try to think, what foods does this remind me of? And so I think of like like toasted bread. So the malts that are in it are Cara Munich, Pilsen, Munich, and Vienna. And the Cara Munich really gives it some caramel notes. Yeah. So if you kind of think, oh, caramel, do I taste that? You can kind of start to taste it. But to me, this isn't really my favorite style of beer. I tend to like hoppy beers. So I don't usually grab this just to drink it by itself. But this is my go-to with food.
I was going to say, with food.
Yeah.
Great pairing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you guys to try it with the sausage, or take a bite of sausage, then take a drink, and it totally changes it. And I think that's what's so fun about pairing food and beer is that, like, there are certain rules, but really there are no rules. Like you can just like have so much fun trying different combos. When you cooked your sausages, how did you cook it? Grill it or saute it?
I sauteed.
Sauteed.
Sauteed it.
Nice. Yeah, I put that in the recipe because when you saute things, you kind of caramelize them. Like think of onions, caramelize them. And that caramelization of the sausage actually really matches the caramel malts in the beer.
Yeah.
And then if you have a bun with it, that kind of matches with the breadiness and the toastiness of the beer. And then the apple cider kraut just kind of gives it a nice sweet finish.
Yeah.
And there's just enough hops because sausages, they're pretty juicy and have a little bit of fat, and hops can really clear your palate of fat. And so if you have a really rich dish, it tends to go well with a hoppy beer. So yeah, I'm so glad you guys tried it.
No, this is awesome.
Has everybody had this hazy IPA yet? You've had it. You said you had it, right, Paul?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I was gonna. Have you had it, Keith? You're drinking it now, Rob. This is the best hazy IPA I think that I've tasted since we've been doing this. This is my favorite. The rest of the hazy IPAs I don't really remember. This one is awesome.
This is the real question, Keith. You're not an IPA man. You're sometimes a hazy guy. What's your take on it?
First I have to swallow. So this is my first time tasting it and I like it.
Yeah.
None of the bitter aftertaste. So I like it.
Oh, it's very effervescent. I guess that's the word. It's like very zesty, almost kind of turfy almost.
Mm-hmm. I don't have that in front of me, but I've drank enough of it. Yeah, you're totally right. Like, it's a little background about that. It's so it's 6.3 ABV. It is very effervescent, like it's carbonated. It has a good level of carbonation because the body of hazies are a little thicker, hence they're hazy. Because when you're brewing them, they're brewed with flaked oats and malted wheat, and so it's a little thicker. And so I think that we always try to make balanced beers, and I say we meaning not me, but Dean, our brewmaster, and his amazing crew.
The royal we.
The royal.
So when I make
wheat.
it in the kitchen. So we try to do balanced beers, and so that's why I think this one is fairly effervescent to balance out that body. And it's actually brewed with, it features El Dorado hops, and they're from CLS Hop Farms, and that's my husband's second cousin. And so we're really excited to showcase some of their hops, and they do amazing hops. We're brewing a beer with a Triumph hop coming up. We have a fresh hop that we brewed with the Zappa hop that they produce. So yeah, they're doing some amazing things. So
I see on your cans, you have 1% for the planet, you have Independent Craft Brewing, Independent Craft Brewers Association. What do those things mean for you?
Yeah.
Running Icicle,
Yeah, so, and you can even see, do you see where this little AB Hop Farm logo?
Yeah.
That was actually the logo of my husband's family's hop farm. So there's a lot on this can. 1% for the Planet. We are a business organization, member of 1%, and basically you commit to donating 1% of your sales to organizations that help protect the environment. You know, we personally have a lot of local organizations that we're tied with that we recommended that they sign up for 1% for the Planet. So for us, living in such a natural environment, it's kind of our way to do our part to give back, because we are manufacturing, we are using resources, we use you know, water. That's why we're called Icicle Brewing Company. We use water from the Icicle Creek, and you know, for us it's important because we are using those resources to give back. I personally think the environment is not political. I think it's a human issue. We all want clean water and places to protect so we can escape there with our families. So yeah, so I feel pretty passionate about that. And then the independent craft beer seal. This is huge. I've served as the president of the Washington Brewers Guild for several years, and on the board. I now serve on the Market Development Committee for the Brewers Association. And in Washington, we have over 400 independent craft breweries, and it's so competitive out there. Oregon is right, it has so many too. Yeah. You guys know, being in Eugene, you know, and nothing against like Hop Valley or Elysian, which are in our respective areas. But I just think that, to me, it's important to look at that seal and just know where your beer, who's making your beer. I don't care if you drink corporate beer, but you should at least know that you are drinking corporate beer. Yeah. Not that it's like a local coffee stand that is owned by Starbucks, but they still use the local coffee stand's name. Yeah. Like, at least that transparency is important to me. And I see firsthand every day how our small and independent breweries give back to their community. They are passionate. They are not in it for the money. They're in it because they love sausage and beer pairings. Like, it's to me.
Chicken mole.
Yeah, chicken mole and dark persuasion. You know, I really am passionate about supporting the independent craft beer industry. You know, just because I see how much they do give back to their community and they care. So
yeah. Now, Pam, you and I kind of talked a little bit about this too, and I think seeing the makeup of our group, it's kind of a pertinent question or conversation. We talked about the Crafted for All organization and kind of what does like words like inclusion and equity and diversity mean for you as a brewer? Yeah,
so I was lucky enough to, because when I was the president of the Brewers Guild, I'm now serving as past president, but we were fortunate enough to, have worked closely with Dr. J. So it's Dr. J. Jackson Beckham, and she started Crafted for All. And she also serves as the diversity ambassador for the Brewers Association. And so I felt really, I felt that it was awesome to be able to kind of work with her. And she came up to a meeting that we did like 2 years ago. And a lot of what she talked about were like, fans, hands, and brands, talking about in a brewery, like looking and seeing, are there barriers to entry? Do people feel welcome when they come? Do they feel like, can they see themselves in your brewery? And your hands, like your pipeline, your staff that you have, do you represent? And are there barriers that maybe can be removed or systems that can be changed that are maybe making it so that you're missing out on populations that may not feel like they're a part of your company.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting because with all that's gone on in society right now, it's sad to me that it's taken that to be touching on all of these important aspects of all of our systems, whether you're a small business or a large corporation. There's a lot we can do, and we signed up as a brewery and took a pledge to basically, if I had to sum it up, try and be a better company with better systems and a better human.
Is there a good pool of minorities to pull from, or to choose from? Is there? I mean, for diversity, there has to be there's got to be inclusion, but there's got to be, I don't want to say what access, or it has to be the opportunity. If you're in an area and you want to be inclusive, but the demographics, are 90% skewed in one direction, then how inclusive can you be? And I just say that to say that I don't know if craft beer has reached all cultures quite yet. I don't know if it's if it's something that's big in the Latino community or in the Black community. I think it's, or in the various communities that that this country represents. So how does that work?
Yeah, and that's exactly kind of what we're, the conversation. So Crafted for All is basically when you sign up to consult with Dr. J, it's the craft beverage industry, but also it could be like writers in the, beer writers or anything like that. Those are the kind of things that we're talking about and having discussions about, how can we as businesses and breweries do better? I think that, if you look at any community, even a rural community, that there's just a lot of diversity everywhere, because I used to think that, there just aren't a lot of people of color applying, or, things like that. But now we have to look at why, why is that? And I don't know, it's a long learning process, and I definitely am not an expert, but I'm learning a lot. So, and trying to do better and learn more.
I think part of it is I want to say, I say cultural just from the standpoint of there being multiple cultures kind of even in this country, but I didn't really, I'm trying to think. So in the Northwest, you have a lot of breweries, independent brewers that's really popular here. And let me see, I was in Georgia up until about 2015 or so, 2016, and I started to see breweries pop up in Georgia. And I'd never seen any, really in the South or anywhere but the Northwest. And so that, I think that's part of the dynamic too. Are there more breweries you think now popping up in other places, or was the Northwest kind of I guess it was, but was it kind of the birthplace of the brewery?
Yeah,
in terms of the craft brewery.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we see a lot of breweries in the Northwest because of the hops. We have a lot of we grow a lot of malts here. You had early people like Burt Grant and Yakima who kind of the found a lot of the pioneers in the beer industry. But I think now you're starting to see craft breweries everywhere. And I'm hoping that just beer can bring people together. That is what's so great about it. It's approachable, not everyone likes beer, but if you go to a brewery, odds are you're gonna make friends, you're gonna start to talk to people. And so, I just hope that being in the beer industry, and if we see it as a way that we can bring people together, I wouldn't know you guys if there wasn't if I hadn't seen Paul here Paul's Instagram and stuff, but here you get to have a little sausage that maybe you haven't cooked before, and now you can impress your friends and
it definitely will impress the friends, that's for sure.
You can have a backyard party when it's sunny out.
Thank you so much, and I just I think it's worth just, like you said, beer can really be used to bring people together. And right now there's so much going on in the beer world that it doesn't matter what you like, what you don't like. I've said my wife is not a big fan of beer at all, but she's found beers that she likes. You know, she's found flavors that she enjoys. She's found things, and there's so much, I guess, diversity of flavor and diversity of taste in the beer world. That why not use something to build bridges instead of burn them? You know, to bring people together instead of cause division and stuff. The work that you're putting in to just whether it's you know, gender in beer or race in beer or sexual orientation in beer or whatever in beer, knowing that the Icicle is taking a stand and really trying to do the work to say, hey, we're trying to be environmentally conscious and aware. We're trying to be good citizens just as people on Earth, you know? Because like I said, it seems like you're trying to, I almost want to shake my head and just say, like, man, that's so much. But it's all the right things, you know, and I think that's important to acknowledge that Icicle is really trying to address all the right things in society to be good stewards. And that, if anything, is a reason worth supporting and you know, buying local. So on top of the fact that the beer is just good, like
both beers are excellent. Both are excellent.
But I just appreciate you guys letting me kind of share a little bit about, you know, our town and our brewery and our restaurant, and I just really appreciate it. And you know, we're not trying to save the world or anything. We're just trying to do our parts to honestly be good humans, like everyone should be.
Exactly. Well, and being mindful of time, you know, I think it's, shoot, we could probably go for hours and days talking about beer and talking about everything that's going on. But Pam, I do just want to say thank you very much for the recipe. Thank you for the beer. This will not be the last time you've heard from us. I promise you that.
No, thank you.
We're friends now. You're in.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We're way past 15 minutes.
Beer guys and a slightly middle-aged women.
Everyone who's watching, everyone who saw this conversation, be sure to check out Icicle Brewing. The website is in the link below. Make it to Leavenworth. I promise you, it is worth the trip. And just wherever you're at, support cool people doing cool things in beer. It's, you know, as much as we can use beer to bring people together, that is a venture worth taking part in. Thank you all for checking out. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you.